Welcome back to Moving Forward. On today's episode, we're taking a look at some of the great things happening right here on the University of Akron's campus. Before the break, you got an insider's look at the first LEGO League competition, and now we're taking a step into the wonderful world of ice sculpture at the 2012 Ice Fest. Hello and welcome to Moving Forward. We're here at the University of Akron's Ice Fest 2012. Our ice carvers are just getting started. They have 3 hours to carve some masterpieces. Let's check it out.
Here we go, Carver.
We're here with Costic, University of Akron graduate and champion ice carver. How are you today?
Fantastic, good morning.
Now can you tell us a little bit how you got involved in ice carving?
I started at the University of Akron right here. Richard Alford, the instructor, 22 years ago put a chainsaw in my hand and encouraged me to do competitions where I learned about different tools and techniques. And now I'm here encouraging others to do the same.
Great. And that brought you all the way to the 2006 Winter Olympics and you won a gold medal. What was that like?
Correct. Luckily I've been able to qualify for 3 Olympics, Torino, Salt Lake City, and Nagano, and I got the gold in Torino.
Great. And what are, at ice carving competitions such as the Olympics or on a smaller scale, what are the judges looking for? How are you scored?
There's usually 10 categories, and they judge proportion and symmetry, design and composition, technical skill, structure, to name a few of the categories.
And what do you find is the most difficult part of ice carving for you?
You know, it's coming up with a really good design. Once you get the design, you're all set. For instance, we carved Zippy with a chef hat here, and getting the design is the hard part, and then carving it ends up being an easy part.
And I've wanted to ask this all day. What happens if you mess up? What if you hack off a huge piece that you find out you actually need?
If you walk around, you're going to see that happen today for sure. And because it's cold, we should be able to recuperate, freeze pieces back together, and go from there.
And what would you say to other young, because you have made this your career, what would you say to other young artists of any sort that want to turn an artistic passion into a career?
What would I say? I would say that no matter what it is, artistic or otherwise, find something you really enjoy and find a way to make a living doing that. You'll never work a day in your life.
And I'm mentioning, how exactly have you turned ice carving into your career?
Oh, that's a good question. It took me 22 years to kind of figure that out, so I don't think I can answer that in a short answer, but you know, providing excellent quality service and high quality carvings, and that's a good start.
And you're competing in the speed carving competition later. Do you have a certain strategy and do you think you're going to win?
I've got an excellent strategy. This week was Muhammad Ali's birthday, so I'm going to carve a sculpture called Float Like a Butterfly, Sting Like a Bee.
Great, well good luck. We'll be rooting for you. We've heard around that you're kind of the favorite to win, so.
Well, besides that, I'm pretty. All the other carvers are ugly. I'm a pretty carver, so I'm going to beat them all.
Well, great. Thank you so much for talking to us, and we'll catch up with you at the speed carving competition later.
All right, sounds good.
As you can see behind me, the event is in full force. We have over a dozen ice sculptors all going to work at their masterpieces. We have everything ranging from squirrels, birds, hummingbird, fish. There's everything you can imagine. They all look incredible. Tell us a little bit about your sculpture.
The sculpture itself is called the flush, after a hunting flush. It's of a pheasant, a game bird. What I'm working on right now is shaping up the head, the body, because I'm going to set the wings so that they're coming out, which is quite a challenge to get done without the whole thing collapsing.
And how do you fuse the pieces together? I saw you starting to put the head on. How do you make them stick?
We use aluminum. We heat it up with just an iron, and once it's nice and hot, we can put it right between the 2 pieces. Once you can see the aluminum clearly, you pull the aluminum out, push the 2 pieces together really quickly, and they'll freeze together in cold weather.
And how much prep work do you do ahead of time? I saw you all kind of had some kind of stencil. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, it's something that they all recommend now, especially for competitions. Is to draw a stencil template beforehand, and we usually do that. We can do that up to a couple days in advance. Chef A does it for us, since we're all so new to it, we haven't really got our own designs. But other than that, there's not much prep work we can do beforehand.
Well, I'll let you get back to work. Good luck, and I can't wait to see how it turns out.
All right.
The speed carving competition is about to get started between 3 University of Akron alumni, including Olympic gold medalist Aaron Costic. Now they have 20 minutes and 20 minutes only to create the best possible ice sculpture they can. A lot of people's money is on Aaron, but we'll never know how it's going to end up. Let's check it out. I have a casualty from one of the ice sculptures.
Sure, now I know you want to know about the training program.
It's amazing how they could take such a basic chunk of ice and all turn it into completely different things. Everyone has completely different techniques. Pretty amazing. It looks like it's pretty close between the angelfish and the bee.
Looks like our winners float like a butterfly, sting like a bee. Aaron Costic goes into the finals against Professor Alford. Welcome, ZTV and the Moving Forward team.
Thank you. We're here with Stan Silverman, the Dean of Summit College here at the Ice Fest. Now tell us, how did the Ice Fest first get started here at the University of Akron?
Well, we have a hospitality management program in Summit College. And a number of years ago, one of our professors, Dick Alford, started ice carving. So it was back, I think back in '89, he had this chainsaw and he had a block of ice and he started doing it with students and showing the students. And the students thought that was what a cool idea to have this beautiful piece of work out of this block of ice, and the only thing you used basically was a chainsaw. And so it became very popular. So they started this hospitality club, and then more recently he's gone from ice to carvings of fruit and things like that. But it's the same concept, and it's become very popular with the students. So we started doing these ice festivals on campus, and what's really nice is that if it stays cold, these ice carvings, which are basically works of art, will be on campus for the next week or so. Now, if you remember what it was like yesterday morning, it was almost 60 degrees and raining, so I thought to myself, is this going to happen? But it happened, and the weather just worked out great for us.
Now, what are some of your favorite sculptures that you've seen over the years?
Well, Aaron and Dick also do very cool things, but sometimes, like, Greg will do faces all the time. He loves to do faces. He does some really neat things. Ken does fish. He does great fish, and actually Aaron does some great fish also. But of course, the best that they do is that last year on the, if you've noticed, I think you noticed they have this huge chair that we sit on, the throne, and last year they had my picture on the back of the throne, so that of course was my favorite. And it did look exactly like me.
Now, one of the crowd favorites today, Aaron Costic, he has actually turned ice carving into a career, which most people wouldn't think could happen. How can they turn something that's so artistic into a career the way he did?
Well, again, he was a student here in the hospitality management program. He started with Dick Alford as professor, started doing ice carving for it, and had a real knack for it. And he did wonderful, so he kept winning contests. And then what a lot of people don't realize is that the Olympics actually has an art component to it. So a few years ago, Aaron won the gold medal at the Winter Olympics for this. So and that's when he made an ice company out of it, his Elegant Ice Company. And that's what he does. Because a lot of times, if you think about it, you go to weddings, and oftentimes you see ice sculptures at weddings. Aaron did one for my daughter's wedding. So it's very common. So it's worked out great for him. And he still allows him to tour and go into contests and things. So.
And when you think hospitality management, ice sculpting isn't the first thing that pops into your mind. How do those two relate?
They don't. They don't, other than the fact that you'll see them in weddings and restaurants and things like that, if it's like. But the reason it caught on here is that because one of the professors who happened to be in the hospitality management was doing the chainsaws and ice, and that's how it got part of ours.
Great.
So, but really, any student across the university can join the club. So you can be a biology major, you can be a journalism major. It makes no difference. Anybody can join the club.
Now, have you ever tried ice sculpting before?
No, I prefer to keep all 10 of my fingers on my hand.
Now, coming up soon, we have the final speed carving round between Chef Alfred and Aaron Costic. Who do you think is going to win?
It's always fun because the two of them to compete against each other. But what has happened in the past, that because both of them are so talented and so good, even the crowd who I always have do the judging, sometimes it's a tie. And they make sure that so we'll see what happens today. You never can tell. Aaron's won in the past, Chef Alfred's won in the past. We'll see what happens today.
We have to take a quick commercial break, but coming up, we'll have more on the 2012 Ice Fest, including the moment you've all been waiting for, the speed carving competition. Who's gonna win? You'll have to wait and see. We'll be right back.